Do you remember the old Nintendo game, Arkanoid? Well, imagine coding a game like that, but with multiplayer support. Sometimes when I live stream, I want to be able to ask my viewers a question, such as what project are we going to work on today? Then give 3 alternatives. A player wins the game by picking one of the 3 boxes in the middle, and that also decides the alternative. But how can we do multiplayer in the browser? The solution is WebRTC. It's an API which is built into the browser. It's primarily used for Google Meet and other video conference tools. But I have figured out a way to use it for control traffic for a multiplayer game. Perhaps we can even add 4 additional players who has a cannon in each corner. Their job is to sabotage for the other players. So let's get started. What's up guys, welcome to today's show. So today we are going to try to code a game in JavaScript. And I have never coded a game like this before, so and I'm a little bit rusty at JavaScript, but I think we will be able to figure it out together, right? So let's see here. First you need to install Node.js. So you just go to nodejs.org and click get, and it will install on every operating system. I'm going to run it through my Linux box. So here I am logged into that, and I'm going to call my role model, or what to call it, is the Arkanoid NES game. So I'm going to call my game Arkanoid Online because it's going to be an online multiplayer game. So AO. Alright guys, so this is my sketch of this project. In the middle we have these 3 win blocks, and as soon as a player hits one of these blocks, they win, and that is the alternative that wins as well, related to the question that you can ask in the beginning of the game. And we have the 4 players in each side, and the purple part here is the regular blocks. So this is the basic game. The first 3 who joins the game that I've started will get those regular players. And this is an add-on thing that I've contemplated a little bit. So if you are the next 4 people who join the game, it can be in the beginning, but it can also be in the middle of the game. Then you will receive one of these cannons, and you will not be able to win the game, but your job is to sabotage for the other players by shooting at the ball so it changes direction. And perhaps you have other ideas that we can use in this game. Please let me know in the comments. We will just very soon start the coding. I just want to take 20 seconds to mention my top-rated new course, a C compiler in JavaScript. It's a 15-episode course, and if you check the video description, you will get a link with a coupon code, and you will get a nice discount. And this will also be true for my book about network technology. So you found that in the video description as well. All right, let's go back to the project. So I'm going to create an an AO directory. I'll go into it, set it to my home, like this. And And then I'm gonna install, first I'm gonna initialize the project. So I'll run npm init-yes. And this will just create this package JSON file. So Node.js will work as intended. And I'm gonna use the TypeScript library to make my code a little bit more structured. So let's install that first. I'm gonna do npm install, and we need the TypeScript. We also might need @types TypeScript. I think we need this one, and types node. I think that's it. Well, we'll see, won't we? So this is going to install all these packages. And now I will be able to open this directory inside of the Sociopath SDP client. This is just so I can code remotely against my Linux machine. If you code directly on you just open the directory in VS Code. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm going to the AO directory and open in editor. And this will link this Linux server directory. And don't forget to remove this Copilot bullshit, which I never installed. I don't know where it came from. It grinds my gears, as they say in America, I guess. Alright, so let's go into the package JSON. And let's start with the license. This is going to be the Birch license. So unlicensed is what we need to put here. And we need to add, let's see, is it module? Or is it type module, perhaps? Type module, there we go. So we can include files in a good enough kind of way. And we need some scripts as well. So let's say we have a build script. Maybe I shouldn't have deleted this. I want to see the syntax. So if we do npm run build, it's going to run TSC, which is the TypeScript compiler. Which reminds me, I forgot to initialize TypeScript. So we need to run npx tsc init, I think. npx tsc. Could not resolve the path in it with the extension. Maybe it's dash in it. There we go. Alright, so now it has created this tsconfig.json. But since I created it here, I need to reopen this directory. So close folder. Let's save this first. And then I will just do as I did before. I'll just right click and open in editor again. And usually this is not necessary, but when we add stuff the other way around, it will not propagate properly. Alright, so that's all good and well. We need to have some kind of, let's see here. It was a while ago that I coded something for the browser. I guess, well, let's start with an HTML file. So let's create an index.html, and we can do the exclamation point tab, and it will create this default thing. So let's say that this is Arkanoid online. And let's just put some placeholder here. Alright, so we also need to have some CSS. So inside of this directory, I'm gonna create a style.css. And I will just put in a comment here. So I have something which I can save so it uploads properly. And then we need a JavaScript file, of course. Probably several, or TypeScript files, because it's going to take these TypeScript files and compile it into regular JavaScript. So let's say we have a main.ts. And let's just do something like console.log abc. This is our main.ts. And I save, and we need to link those together. So in order to get the CSS, we do style is it source? And it's either source or href. I can never remember. Let's say style. Alright, let's see. So style rel is equal to style sheet, and source is equal to style CSS. I think this is the right thing. And then we need to load the JavaScript as well. So this is going to be, maybe it is href here instead. And script is source. I'm pretty sure it is main dot, and we need to specify the JS file here, not the other one. We also need to have this script end tag. Alright, maybe we should put something in this CSS so we can see if it works. Let's say the background is, we can make this gray color. And we have something here already, okay? Let's just see that everything is uploaded as it should. Yes. So before I do that, and this is an optional step. This is just for my own convenience. I usually create a make file, and inside of here, I just do something like, let's say, build. And then I run npm build. And I want to have something like clean. And then I will just remove the JS files, because they will be regenerated once we run build again. And I'm gonna say that the phone is clean because it doesn't produce anything. And then we have all, which just runs build, something like this. So now I should be able to just run make. Oh, I don't have a working make on this machine. Never mind then. Let's remove this thing. And instead we can go the other way around. If I delete this one, move to trash, and then I go into our package.json, we can remove this test, and I will add a clean script here instead, where I just run rm-f and all the JS files. Alright, so now we can run npm run build, and it created the JS file. Pretty nice, pretty nice. And how does it look? Yeah, it looks right. Okay, so let's see if this works. Let's go into drbirch.com/ao. Okay, we have something, but it's definitely not gray. So I probably got this stuff in the reverse order. So style should probably be source, and script should probably be href. Let's try that. And since we only edited the HTML, we don't need to rebuild anything. That's only for the JavaScript. Still doesn't work quite right, huh? It's a little bit weird, actually. Style rel style sheet source. Did the JavaScript work? No, not that either. That's pretty weird. At least one of them should work, I think. Style rel styles. Oh, wait a minute. It's probably not style. It's link, I think. And that probably means we were right the first time with these. So let's just put them back like this. And we reload. And now it is gray. Not the gray color that I was expecting, but syntax error, unexpected keyword, export. That's a little bit weird. Why does it add export in that format? I need to Google this thing. Let's see. You are using ECMAScript, but your environment does not support it. Blah, 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 blah. Do not support ESM, export keyword syntax, and use common JS modules. Node.js 14.13. Let's see which one we got. So npm version, I guess. Or maybe not npm. Node version 17. Okay, so we should have support for it, I think. Maybe we need to configure TypeScript. Consider using TypeScript. Transpose M to common.js. This is build. Transpose is 6 JavaScript to common.js target supported by your loading modules. Aha, this could actually be it. Script source, script type module. Okay, this is probably the right thing, I hope. So script type is equal to module. Here and we reload and we inspect. So let's see. Console. No, there's no error. Alright, that's pretty nifty. But let's change this gray. I want it to be a much darker gray. So let's go. We can close this for now. Let's go in here. And let's say we have something like 20, 20, 20. So if you put zeros in between those numbers, they are always gray nuances. So you can have 30, 30, 30, or 40, 40, 40, etc. And this should be a rather dark gray, which I was looking for. Yeah, this is more like it. And then I'm gonna make the graphics very, very simple in the beginning, and then we can make it better once we get it to work. So I wanna have a black box, and inside of that I wanna have the, I don't know what it's called, the player thing that you move around. So let's see here. We need some HTML. So let's say that we have a main, and the main is going to be this game window or whatever. So let's put our ABC here. And our main should have a background of, should it be entirely black, or no, not entirely. Maybe we can do 10, 10, 10. And then we increase this just a tiny hair to 30, 30, 30. And how big are we going to make this? Let's say we have a height of 768 pixels and a width of, no, it's the other way around. I want the height to be 1024 pixels and the width to be 768 pixels, like the old screen resolution, you know. And let's add a border, and it's going to be, let's see what the syntax is. Border 2 pixels solid and almost white, but not quite. So let's say E, 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 E. Maybe this is enough. Alright, so let's add a little bit rounded corners, not a lot, but just a little bit. So we need to use the border radius, and let's try 2 pixels. And see how this looks. Alright, looks pretty nice, I think. A little bit too big for my screen though. Unfortunately. So let's try something else. Let's do $800 and $600. Okay, that didn't help much. Let's see here. What if we were to do 500 here and 600 here? It's still outside. So what about 500 and 400? It becomes smaller and smaller here. Alright, maybe we can use this for now and then make it bigger later perhaps. But I want to have this in the center, I think. Yes. So let's see, centering something in CSS is always a little bit tricky. But I think the easiest way in this case is turning this body into a flexbox parent. So let's say display flex, and flex direction is going to be a row. And let's align items center, and what's the other one? Align items and bum 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 bum. Align items and justify content, I think. Justify. Yeah, content center, and I think this should solve this problem. Yes, okay, that's good. And maybe let's make a little bit room above as well. So let's do something like margin one rem. Okay, this looks nice, right? Alright, so the next step is creating our player item or whatever. And I haven't yet decided what kind of HTML tag I'm going to use. Perhaps it's going to be this, what's it called? Canvas. But for now, let's just do, let's see here. What should we do? I guess we could use, I don't want to use div, it's too generic. I want to have something specific. So what do we have? We have main and we have, is it side? No, aside. This we can actually use. So let's just do an empty aside here. And let's say that an aside it has a background of our text color. This EE thing here. So EEE is our background. We want to have a height of, I don't know, maybe 20 pixels. And a width of 100 or something. Let's try that. We don't really need a border, but we can use a border radius to make it a little bit more appealing. So let's do 2 pixels here as well. Let's see how this looks. Looks pretty good, I think. But we don't want it up there, we want it here somewhere. So, let's see here. I think we want to make this position not inherit. I want to have absolute. That way we can specify X and Y coordinates where we want to have this thing. So let's see, the height is, maybe we can do a calculation. So let's say that our X or it's not called X, it's called left. So that should be the half of our height. So 250 pixels minus the half of its own width, right? I think that will make it pretty centered. And let's say we have a bottom of, I'm not sure if this is relative to the screen or if it's relative to the container, but we'll see, right? So let's say we have, I don't know, 1 rem or something. Okay, it's definitely not inside of here. How do we get it inside of here? Maybe we need to set the position for the main to relative. Or the other way around. I don't remember. Yeah, here it is. But our calculations didn't quite work out so well. I don't think this is pretty centered. 250 minus 50. Should we take the entire width of the object? Yeah, I think so. This looks pretty centered. Okay, so now we have something to work with. Now we need to work on the JavaScript so we can make it possible to move this thing with a keyboard, right? So let's start by we need to have some main function of some kind. So let's say we have let main, and
this is a function from nothing to void. Or actually, let's see. Actually, I think we'll do it as a, I'm not sure if we can do this. A function to a function like this. And then I want to do something like main is equal to, and then I want to do an iffy. Immediately, what's it called? I don't remember, but I think it's something like this, or I don't know. But you do it like this. So you make a function. So this is some code, and return void 0. But then we put this whole thing inside of parentheses, and then we can run this function directly like this, I think. Type undefined is not assignable to type this to this. Okay. So maybe I need to specify the type. Where do I do that? Perhaps here. So it's going to return a function to void. But this doesn't look right. Maybe like this. Let's Ctrl+C a couple of times. So we have this, right? And what happens if we don't specify a type here? Will it figure it out by itself? Any. I don't really like any. But why is this? Probably because of the parentheses, right? Well, let's do this for now. Let's see what the compiler says. But we need to make something run this thing. So let's say we have a document. Where do we put this? Maybe just a document. So add event listener, and we want to listen for the event DOM content loaded. That means that all the HTML items have been loaded correctly, and that in that case we want to call our main function. No overload matches this call. And let's remove the iffy. We don't really need it anyway. Another function cannot have a this parameter. Okay, that's interesting. But we don't need that either, so. Okay, now I think it will compile. So lesson learned, never overcomplicate things. Okay, it's compiled. Let's check it in the browser. But we can't really see anything, right? Because the function doesn't do anything. But let's say we have a console log works or something. And we remove this. And we will soon take a break, but first I want to just check if this works or not. So I'm gonna try it out here and inspect console. It works. All right, nice. So we'll be right back after this. All right, you guys, welcome back. Let's see if we can make this sucker move. So let's see here. We need to add 2 event listeners. One for key down and one for key up, I suppose. Or maybe key press. We need to experiment a little bit. So let's start by creating a function. So let's say we have a function which is called move, perhaps. And this too will be an E with an event returning void. So move is going to be a function with E event. By the way, I forgot to add a return value for this thing. And same here, void. Okay, so what are we gonna do when it moves? We need to be able to check which key was pressed. So let's do a console.log on the event so we know a little bit more what we are dealing with here, right? So we'll add a document, add event listener. This time we do key press. Let's try key press. And the function to run is move, like so. So we save this thing and we go into here. Let's inspect and console, and let's see what happens when we press something. Not a whole lot, actually. Or am I reading this log wrong? Let's see. Why doesn't anything happen? Add event listener key. Maybe we can't put it on the document. Maybe we need to put it on the body. And maybe we don't add the event listener here. Maybe we need to put it inside of here. So let's try both of these things. At the same time. So we inspect, we go to the console, and we press something. Not a whole lot is happening. Let's see. Is it possible to see the event listener somehow? I'm not too fond of Safari's way of dealing with this stuff. I'm more used to Chrome, to be honest. Sources, exceptions. And it's not storage, audit, elements. What are we doing wrong? And why does it say works? Didn't I reload this thing? Maybe it didn't update correctly. Let's check the contents of... Oh, I'm so stupid. Aren't I? We need to rebuild, of course. npm run build. Alrighty then. Now I expect a different result. If we go to the console, it still say works. Why? Let's check main.ts. JS. That's pretty weird, right? What if we clear this log and reload? It still says works. Maybe it has something to do with caching. What if we go to index.html and do the old trick by adding a number after? That should take care of that, right? Okay, now we don't have works anymore, that's good. What if we do any key press? Ah, now we're talking. Now we are talking. Okay, so we have a key, and that's this, and we have a code. So what if we do the arrow keys? The arrow keys do not trigger. These work, but not the arrow keys. What if we were to use A and S to begin with and figure this out later? I think we can do it like that. So let's see here. Alright, so first we need to check which key is pressed, right? So let's create a variable for that. So let's say we have a key, and this is a string, I suppose. And we set key equal to the E dot what did it say? Code? No. Let's double check. Okay, so key. I think we can use that one. key is equal to e.key. Maybe we need to be more specific what kind of event it is. Is there a, let's see, a key press event? Key event, keyboard event. There we go. Okay, so this should be a keyboard event. That's the one. So now we can switch on that key. And if we have an A, so this would be the key left. And if we have an S, that would be the key right. For now, anyway. Okay, so let's see. If we press left, we want to move our, I don't know what we're gonna call it. Let's call it the aside for now until we figure out a better term for it. So we can actually create a global variable because we're going to refer to this quite a lot, I think. So let's say we have a variable which is called aside, and what type is that going to have? Well, it's an HTML object, HTML div element. I think it goes under the div. So inside of our main, we can set aside equal to document query selector, and we search for an aside because we are only going to have one for now anyway. Or null. Okay, so can we do something like this? And then we create a function which we call fail, and that is going to go from potentially some message, which is a string, but not necessarily. It's going to go to never because this will not terminate. And fail is going to be a function, message string, never. And what are we going to do here? If we have a message, we can do console.error that message, and in any case we want to abort everything, so I guess we will throw an error, right? With the message, and we return Why does this fail? Property align is missing in type HTML element, but required in HTML div element. Align. That's pretty weird. Maybe we shouldn't be so specific. What about HTML element? Okay, that's better. Alright, so now we have the aside. So what do we want to do with the aside? Well, we need to calculate the x position. So this is a number. We can set x equal to the aside dot. Is there an x? Or is it the left? HTML element. So what do we have on an HTML element? We must have something of that kind. Maybe we need to use some function here. Do we have some get position or something? Get x. Get. Get attribute. Could that be it? Not much information here. What if we were to do something like this? String or null? Maybe we need to Google this. It was a while ago I did this kind of stuff. So get x position of element in JS. Get bounding client rect method. Okay. Why didn't I think about that, huh? Get bounding client. What is wrong with this page? Get bounding client direct. Parameters none. Return value is a DOM rect object, including its padding, border width, left, top, right, bottom, x, y. All right. So, okay. That probably means we should do something like this. So we go to this object, we run this thing, and we grab the X from it. Okay. And what do we want to do with this X? If we have a left, let's say that we minus X with, I don't know, 10 pixels. And how do we update that thing? Is there an aside set bounding, blah blah blah? Of course not. But shouldn't we be able to just change, not the X, but the left? How do we access those attributes? Attributes, X, left. I don't like Googling for everything, but I can't really solve it any other way. And don't even mention AI, please. Alright, so this is JavaScript, and we want to change the X position. CSS left property. That's what I thought. But we need to do it in JS. Style, that's what I was looking for. Not attribute, it's style. Alright, so if we set the style left equal to X to string, that should probably work. And then we take this and we put it right here, and in this case we increase it by 10. And let's also let it run a little bit smoother. So if we go to the aside, we can change, what's it called, transition. So let's see, transition all, and what's the next argument? Some time, I think. Transition, or maybe I don't remember which order these are in. Maybe we should take one at a time instead. So transitioning, not delay. Is it duration? It's probably duration. So let's say 0.3 seconds. And how do we decide what type of transition we're talking about? Can it be transition name, perhaps? Property? Behavior? No, I think it's property actually. The property should be all. So So we have a duration, but we want to have some easing too. Can this be it? Probably not. The timing function maybe. Here we go. So do we want to ease in or ease out? So I think out. I'm not 100% sure, but probably. Let's try this. So let's recompile this thing. And maybe we need to increase those numbers just to make sure. And then we go here. Nothing happens. Console. Maybe I should do the whole thing here. We need to break as well. We need to break, and it's usually sensible to have a default as well, but we don't really need to do anything. But I'm having a hard time believing that this is right. So let's say console log from X to X. And this is when we move left. It does not trigger. Let's log the key to them. No, not this. So let's see, console log key and key. Pretty weird. This worked before. Do I need to update the HTML again? That's becoming old real fast, to be honest. Nope, that's not it. Oh, I never seem to understand this stuff or remember. Forgot to compile. All right, now we'll see. So key is A. And from, okay, now maybe it's moving. No, it's not. But, no. Okay, so it calculates it correctly, but it does not update. It does not update.
Why is that? Because we take this side and its style and we change the left value. But what if we were to do those from and to here as well? So let's say, let's have a space so we can differentiate these. So this is from a side style left to the side style left. Maybe the values don't match up on the same scale or something. But it should move at least a little bit. Well. Okay, forgot to compile. Maybe we should do something like this. No, I thought about doing some loop in a script, but who knows what we're going to write over if we do that stuff. Let's do it like this instead. From nothing to nothing. So we get nothing as a result, but we don't get an error in the TypeScript. That's pretty weird. So this property should exist, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And why is it not? Let me think a little bit and we'll be right back. All right, you guys, welcome back. So I read up a little bit about this and we need to do this a little bit differently. First of all, we need to, we can use this way to do it, but we need to add one thing. We need to add concat and then pixels. So that's one thing, but it's not enough because we can't really trust the values that we have because they are only what's from the CSS. We do need to get the actual value, and there is a function for that actually. So instead of using this bounding client rect, a better way is to set x equal to, maybe we need to do this in 2 steps. Not necessarily. Yes, no? No, we don't. We can do window get computed style and we provide our side. And from that we can get the x, I think. But this would be in the same format. So we need to remove the pixel and we need to turn it into a number. Right. So we take the x and then we can replace, search for pixel and replace with nothing. And this whole thing we want to turn into a number. So I guess we can just do number like Didn't I add this? Okay, I think this is right. Let's update this to be sure. Let's go here and rebuild. And now we should be able to move, I think. Huh, will you look at that? But it's not working exactly as I was hoping. Weird, actually. Let's move one step to the right. Okay, it went the other direction. Weird. Because here we are taking it minus 10 and here plus 10. We're taking this number, making a string out of it, and putting the pixels. Let's see if we get some error or something. So restart this, inspect, console. What did we call it? AO. Maybe I was right the first time. Maybe this computer style is not the right way to go. But almost. How did we do it first? We did x is equal to document get bounding box something, or maybe on the aside. Side get bounding client rect x. Let's comment this out for now. All right. Let's try this again. We need to remake. Maybe update this annoying little number as well. I think I'm gonna do some PHP magic soon to take care of this thing. Okay, now it jumps quite a bit, but only in the one direction. How can this be so difficult, really? Moving something on the screen, right? It should be the most basic of things. This is really grinding my gears. By the way, let's change this index HTML and this might not be possible for you, because you probably don't have PHP configured, but I do. So I will just do this for my convenience. So I'm gonna say something like let's say we have number that we put in like this. So on the top here, we're gonna have a PHP section. I'm not sure if we need to call srand. Probably not. Let's just say this num variable is equal to a random number, like so. And then I need to go here and remove the old HTML file. And if I update this thing and check out the HTML code, would you look at that? So now it will automatically be a different number each time. Okay, that makes stuff a little bit easier. But we need to know a little bit better what's going on here. So let's add some labels. I think that would be the easiest way. So if you go to the HTML, and inside of this inside of main, instead of ABC, we're gonna say well, you can just do P and then give it some ID. So let's say this is the xval. Oh, we're only gonna have an xval. Never mind. It's good enough. Like so. And let's create a variable for this. So let's say we have an xval, which is our HTML element. And here we will do basically the same thing, but we're gonna set our xval to not query selector, but what's the other one called? Get element by ID, and we provide xval. And when we have that, we can set it to the right thing. Let's say we call a function update xval or something. So let's say update xval is a function from nothing to void. And maybe we should make this global, because we might use it from other places. So update xval is equal to function returning void. So we want to do basically the same thing as here. Maybe we should get both values. So let's say we have an x prime as well. And we use this other method. This is our x prime. Let's say we have a string. And our string is equal to the string x. And then we concat the x value to string. We concat a slash, and we concat the x prime to string. And we set our x val text content to str. It should be str, not string. And then we return void 0. So we call this in the beginning here. What's it complaining about? Oh, this is how it's going to be. And when we press any of these keys, let's also update that label. So update x val. It's not the most beautiful JavaScript here, but I just want to make this work, and then we can make the code niftier. Alright, so let's try this out. We need to rerun this thing. And we need to reload here. Maybe we can have some color as well. So let's see. I guess we need to do the same here with the CSS. So this is equal to num, like so. And inside of, we can do the body actually. Let's say the default color is this EEE thing. Alright, let's see if we can figure this thing out. So we set the color of the body. Shouldn't that propagate to the other ones? Oh, should be a semicolon here. There we go. Maybe we can have some padding. Not that it matters, but it annoys me, so. So if we have a P called xval, we want to set, we can set a margin left. Or 1 rem. And perhaps
as well. So font family. Arial, that'll be okay. All right, that's better. Okay, so what do we have here? The one value is 447.5 and the other one is 0. And if we move one step to the left, it moves, but none of the values are updating, right? And I'm pretty sure that we ran the updates here, didn't we? Let's double check. Okay, left worked. Maybe I forgot to add it to the other one. Update xval, update xval. Why did it only trigger for one? That's pretty weird. This is weird. Everything of this is weird. It is moving, but the steps are huge. I'm not really sure how to interpret this number. And it's increasing no matter if I press A or S. But if I inspect this thing, it's obviously reacting to the different keys. S, A. Why is that? Y, O, Y. Case A, break. Case S, break. And here we plus, here we minus. Maybe we could give the x as an argument here. So this is going to take an x, which is a number. X, which is a number, but not necessarily. Call it x. Let's say input. Let's say we have x double prime, which is a number, and x double prime is equal to the input or 0. We concat some more, and we add our x double prime to string. So now we know what we are trying to change it to, and see if that helps us in any way. So we try to go from 447.5 to 457.5.
but both of these are increasing no matter where I go. I used to like JavaScript, but I'm not too fond of it in the browser actually. This DOM stuff is, I don't really like it. But I think if we just figure this out, then everything else will just fall into place. Case A. Case S. What if we were to log the key code instead? Why is this crossed over? Deprecated. So, what should we do instead? It doesn't say. Let's try it anyway. Maybe it gets through. Huh, it did. Okay, so the key code for S is 115 and 97. 115, no, 97, 115. We switch on the key code instead. So now it goes in that direction. So it increases by 10. And now it decreases by 10 according to this, but it's moving. So this is pretty accurate actually, but this, okay, so this is what we get from the function we called. And this is what we want it to be. This is so weird. So weird. Could it be some bug in Safari? Let me try this in Firefox just for the thrill. A-O. No, it's the same. All right, maybe we should end here for today. If any of you knows what I'm doing wrong, please tell me in the comments, and then we will continue the next time. I think this game could be pretty cool if we just get over this first step and start coding on it for real, because the multiplayer capabilities will be really nifty. So I hope you want to follow along in this series, and please subscribe and also like the video if you think it's worth it. And thank you for watching. Thanks for today.